Good day, everyone! We will now be learning about the common monosaccharide galactose, a component of lactose. For this lesson, we will be joined by Teacher Crystal and Teacher Naya. But before that, at the end of this lesson, you should be able to define galactose and explain its connection to lactose, identify the structure of galactose and its relation to lactose, explain the function and biological importance of galactose and its role as a monosaccharide of lactose, identify basic nutritional facts about lactose and galactose, and apply knowledge of galactose metabolism to real-life scenarios. Now, let's proceed to our lesson.
Good day, everyone. My name is Crystal Mejeroa. Today, we are going to teach you about common monosaccharides, galactose, components of lactose. Take a look at this picture. What do you see? So, as you can see, it has potatoes, pastas, bananas, all common foods we eat every day. But what do they have in common? They're all sources of carbohydrates, one of the body's main sources of energy. What are carbohydrates? As you might learn from the previous lesson, they're organic compounds made of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And they're essential for energy in living things. We group them into three types: monosaccharides, disaccharides, and polysaccharides. So, you've learned from the previous lesson that monosaccharides are simple sugars. They have two types, which are aldose and ketose. They are then further classified based on their number of carbon atoms. Let's delve into one of the monosaccharides, which is named galactose. So, what is galactose? Galactose is a simple sugar and a type of monosaccharide. It is also a component of glycolipids and glycoproteins, which are essential for cell membrane and recognition processes. How is galactose related to lactose? It is formed when lactose, a disaccharide, is hydrolyzed. It is also produced in the mammary glands from glucose during lactose production. Galactose is a 6-carbon sugar, which means it has the same chemical formula as glucose, C6H12O6. It is actually an isomer of glucose, so they share the same formula but different in structure. Galactose exists in two main structural forms: the open chain form and the cyclic form. It also has two enantiomers, or mirror images, called D-galactose and L-galactose. Usually, in biology, we focus on the D form because that's what's found in our bodies. Now, when we compare galactose with glucose, the main structural difference is at carbon number 4. In glucose, the OH group of the fourth carbon is directed towards the right side. In galactose, the OH group of the fourth carbon is directed towards the left side. This structural difference results in several other differences between galactose and glucose. Number 1 is stability. Glucose is more stable than galactose. Number 2, melting point. Glucose has a lower melting point than galactose. Lastly, taste. Glucose is sweeter than galactose. Okay, so now that you know and can identify galactose, let me ask you, why are they important to our body? We've briefly discussed that our body breaks down into lactose into its monosaccharides, galactose and glucose. One of the functions of galactose is energy production. When galactose is ingested, it is metabolized in the liver through the Lilloir pathway. Galactose is first converted into galactose 1-phosphate by the enzyme galactokinase. Next, galactose 1-phosphate is converted to glucose 1-phosphate in a reaction catalyzed by the UDP transferase enzyme. In order to keep this reaction running, 4-epimerase is needed to regenerate certain intermediates, UDP galactose and UDP glucose. Finally, glucose 1-phosphate can enter into the normal glucose metabolism pathways such as glycolysis and glycogenesis, thus producing energy. Galactose also serves as the building blocks of glycolipids and glycoproteins. such as gangliosides for neuronal membranes and cerebrosides for myelin sheath formation, structures which are vital for brain development, nerve function, and cell signaling. These glycolipids and glycoproteins are essential for cell-to-cell recognition, immune responses, and hormone function. To add to that, galactose is also present in connective tissue molecules. It is also a crucial precursor for glycolipids, galactolipids, glycosphingolipids, lipid synthesis, and supports synthesis of vitamins A, D, E, and K. Now, can you imagine what would happen to our body when we cannot properly metabolize galactose?
Okay, so before we move on further to the lesson, let us first have a little pit stop. You can pause the video, go to the comment section, and comment down below the summarized functions of galactose in the body.
Now we will discuss about lactose. Lactose is a disaccharide composed of galactose and glucose, right? But how does it look structurally, and how many carbons does it contain? The structure of lactose is this, and its formula is C12H22O11, following the general formula given for disaccharides. What do you think is the systematic name of this structure? Correct! It's called as beta-D-galactopyranosyl 1,4-D-glucose. Where can we even find lactose? Is it a fruit in a tree? Actually, lactose is mainly found in dairy products such as milk, cheese, butter, and more. I wonder how our body breaks down lactose, considering that our body simplifies sugar into monosaccharides. So in the intestinal lining, there exists the enzyme lactase. Lactase and water separates glucose and galactose into simple sugars. The two atoms of hydrogen bonds with the oxygen in the middle, and the remaining one oxygen bonds with the hydrogen with no oxygen atom. Then, tada! Glucose and galactose are now individual sugars or monosaccharides. This mechanism determines if a sugar is a reducing sugar, which is a property of lactose because lactose can be divided into halves. Glucose and galactose are then absorbed into the bloodstream by proteins, which is used by our body for what? Yes, correct, energy! Do you know anyone who cannot eat dairy products? Excessive intake of lactose can lead to gastrointestinal discomfort, including bloating, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. But for some, even a simple drink of milk can cause such discomfort. Such symptoms may be due to lactose intolerance. We've discussed earlier how lactose is digested, but when the small intestine cannot make enough lactase, it will fail to properly break down the lactose for the body to absorb. The lack of the enzyme may be hereditary due to an injury or infection, or in rare cases, some newborns can't make any lactase from birth. In the past, people who were lactose intolerant were told to stop taking dairy products. Today, health experts suggest you try different dairy foods and see which ones cause fewer symptoms. That way, you can still get enough calcium and other important nutrients such as vitamin D. Can you give me examples of the common sources of lactose? So these are the common sources of lactose and their lactose content. From the lowest to highest, we have cheese, yogurt, cow's milk, ice cream, and breast milk. Did you know that most cats are lactose intolerant, especially as they mature? When cats consume dairy, the undigested lactose can cause digestive issues. So it is not advisable to give your pet cats milk, especially if they are not kittens anymore. Now, some might not suffer from lactose intolerance, but are still not allowed to consume lactose. This can be due to their body's inability to metabolize galactose. What do you think happens then? When the body cannot properly metabolize galactose, it can lead to various complications. We call this disorder galactosemia. Although its occurrence is rare and can only be acquired genetically, let's take a look at this infographic to understand it better. Galactosemia often signals a deficiency of the galactose 1-phosphate uridyl transferase enzyme. leading to the accumulation of galactose 1 phosphate. This accumulation is toxic to tissues and will cause liver damage, cataracts, and intellectual disability. For treating conditions like galactosemia, managing dietary intake to control galactose consumption is crucial. In such cases, patients often need to adhere to a strict diet that limits the intake of lactose-containing foods to prevent the accumulation of galactose 1 phosphate. Supplements and foods designed for individuals with galactosemia are typically galactose-free. And according to the National Newborn Screening and Genetics Resource Center, 1 in 48,000 newborns have galactosemia. Now let me ask, why do we need to understand the roles and dietary sources of galactose and lactose? Because it helps us in making informed choices for clinical management and general wellness. Alright, now before we conclude this video, it's time to put your knowledge to the test. We'll be reviewing by playing a game. 4 picks, 1 word. I'll show you 4 pictures on the screen. All of them are clues pointing to one word related to what we just discussed. Your goal is to figure out the mystery word based on the images and the clue I give. Let's begin. First clue. This sugar is found in milk and is part of lactose. The answer is galactose. Next. A disaccharide made of glucose and galactose mostly found in dairy. Correct! It's lactose. Next, the enzyme that breaks down milk sugar in your intestines. Answer is lactase. Lastly, this rare genetic disorder prevents the body from properly metabolizing galactose. Correct! It's galactosemia. Thank you for listening and I hope you guys learned something.